Okay. Okay, we're holding out a Mishnah on Kuf Samech Amud Aleph on the bottom, last few lines. Okay, we thank Hashem that we're able to learn Torah every day. Supposed to have a learning, we should have to do some English immediately. Thank you for learning. Lula Nishma Savagol Basra Daf and the San Savim Tzion and for Shlema of David Ben Sarah. Excuse me. Then we get to this. My father. Very able. Okay. The Mishnah says, I think. Someone that a promissory note is starting to get erased. This is going to be a big problem. He's gonna, if the person's not paying back right away, and he wants to hold it to get his money back, but it starts to like either decay or water got on it, and it's getting old.
So what happened if it was laying around and a pet ate it by accident?
Yeah.
Is it the same thing? Like if a pet ate it?
Yeah, same thing. Ramesha, I believe that that when Sifrei Torah start to get old and like letters pop off, so sometimes you see letters that are, it's still black, but it's not shiny. Sometimes you see like it's red. It's like, I think there's a difference in halacha between that, right?
Yeah, very much so. That's when you start getting menumeris.
What's it called?
If you start fixing it, then you start getting red and black. It's called menumar.
Menumar.
Yeah.
So the red is not considered ink, right?
Right. That's the residue, the chemically part of the ink, but it's not.
It happens often when you have older Sifrei Torah, at least in Rhode Island, we would have puzzle Sifrei Torah often. We would have, put away the Torah, take out the next one. All the good shilas, like do we say the bracha and that, all the good stuff. So okay, so anyway, the document's getting worn out, and it's you're not going to be able to read it soon. So what you do is ma'amad alav eidim, a balafnei best, and you get witnesses, and you come to court, and they make a validation of this document. What they write is ish plani ben plani nimchak shtari b'yem plani, that so and so lost his documents getting erased on such and such a day. Plani Adav, and so are the witnesses. Now, does that mean the witnesses of the original document or witnesses on the new document? Let's see. Plani Adav. The same witnesses?
It says in the presence of the court, the witness who knows the contents of the original document write out the new document with all the necessary information. The original date, amount of loan, names of the original witnesses. And they sign their names at the end.
Oh.
It says Rashbam.
So Uplenia Adav, is that referring to the original witnesses or the ones that are now signing on it? Yeah, if they write in it that so and so were the witnesses. Now it doesn't say in the Mishnah that they signed, but obviously they signed. That must be the pshat. Okay. No, it's an old document. How do you get well, all we're doing is we're getting witnesses that saw the document and that see it now, and they see it's getting worn out. They're going to write a new document. They're going to say that this and this was an old document that we saw, and these were the witnesses on it, and that was it. This was the date. They're tested. It's basically like a certified copy, but they didn't have copies, so they rewrite it and they say this is what we saw. Okay, Taner Rabbanan, starting a Bryce, Ezel Kiyumai. What is the validation of the document? They write the Maisav Tlasa Havina. In the presence of three. Anu, Pliny, Upliny, Upliny. Are the three, Larry, Larry, what are these three people are there? Haitzi Pliny ben Pliny, Shtar Machak Lefanena ben Pliny. So and so, the son of so and so, brought an erased document that was written on such and such a day. Pliny Adov, and so and so were the witnesses that were signed in it, and that's it. And they sign it. But we saw this document, and they're validating this document that got erased by writing a new document that has the information. V'im kasav boy, if they write his kakna leedus leidusan shel edim, v'nimtzas edusan mechabenes, and if they write that we needed the testimony of the witnesses and we found that it was accurate, in other words, they actually went to the original witnesses and they examined to see that if it was everything was accurate, their signatures and everything, then goiva, then this is a document that you could use. You don't have to bring any more proof. You can go collect. I'm not going to collect, but you can even collect from property that was stolen, that was sold. And take even if the borrower had property that was sold, the lender now here, the creditor can come in and take property. No, so that's what it's saying. If they wrote that we are also verified with the witnesses that this is all accurate, then it would be like a document with the hempik, and then you can go and collect. And if not, then tzarich laviraya, then you're going to need to have proof for the time of the document, and you're going to need for the amount. You're going to have to get the witnesses, you're going to have to get other proof. Yeah, I don't know. How do they translate the imlav? If not what? If they don't have that validation at all, or if they didn't verify it with the witnesses. Yeah, the Rabbeinu Gershon, right? If they did not write that we verified with the witnesses, then what's going to happen is the defendant is going to be able to say that he brought a half erased document to the court, and they wrote that they saw it, but it doesn't mean that it was good. Yeah. Then just because you made a certified copy of something doesn't mean the original was good. You have to say that we validated the original. Okay. Well, Nikra, if the document was torn, then puzzle. Then the document is puzzle. Niskara, if it was torn, these are two types of torn. One is when it was actively torn, and when it was that it just happened to be torn, then it's still kosher. We have to see what the difference is between nikra and niskara, actively torn. Or nimchak, if it was erased, they netashtash. How do they translate netashtash? It was like rubbed out, erased. And what's the first one erased?
Erased or stained.
Oh, Natasha means stained. So imrish smudged. I supposed to say smudged or smudged? Smudged. Smudged. My kids say smudged. So if the residue, there's still a residue there, then it's kosher. Then it's still going to be good. I guess maybe even if it's that red color. Okay. Nikra. What's the case when it was actively torn? Well, and Hechidam Niskara, what's the case when it happened to be torn? Say passive, it's not. It was torn. Niskaras somehow they call it reflexive, but Rav Yehuda says Nikra is Kereshel Besdin. Torn means that the court tore it. It has the real tear in it. That's what they do when they show that it's not valid. They tear it. And Niskara is Keresh Shel Besdin. That's not a court tear. That's just, it happened to be a katorn. You're pulling it from out of the papers and it tore. Now the Gemara says, Hechi Dami Keresh Shel Besdin. What's the tear of the Besdin? Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, that you tear it on all those important points. The person's name, you tear on the date, and you tear on the amount. You don't have to tear the standard stuff, right? Abai says you tear it in both directions. The way that we would do a tear in the Bezdin is you tear it like this. You make a tear going diagonally like this. So that's one. And then you would tear the other one, and you would tear it like this, going this way. And then you would leave it little drop. You would tear it over here. Like this. Like that. Or maybe they would tear it through. Let's see, they tear it through.
You could do that.
You tear it through like this. This was considered, I don't know if you can see that. You can see how it was torn? Yeah. Like an X. Like an X. You tear it like an X.
If you fold it and do a small tear, it'll unfold it on both sides.
Oh, so you're saying you fold it like this. You fold it like this.
Yeah.
You fold it twice. You just tear it like that.
Yeah.
And then you fold it like this and tear it like that. Yeah, that would be easier. You tear it, and then you can. Then you're left with that, and that's a court here. That shows that this document's been used already. They can't use it again.
You don't go through the dates and the signature.
Right. That's a bias view. The first view says no. You have to actually tear the proper part of it. Here it's just no, a tear like that in the center it's good.
Is that how a get is torn by the basin?
After the get's given, they tear it. Everyone's a little surprised. What? All this work and now you
$600.
Right. But after it's given, that's what they do. They make that tear in it. And if it's not given, they just tear it out. They shred it.
Oh.
That's different. Here they tear it and save it. And they keep it on file. Huh? And if it was like something because a mistake was in it, then they tear it up and throw it in the garbage. Okay. Amar Abai. Okay, we did Abai. Hanu Arvoi Dasila Pumpadisa. Were these Yishmaelim? Yishmaelim there were no Muslims then. It was Arabs. Yeah. They came to Pumpadisa. The Habika Arasa Dinchi. Look, they're in Iran, Iraq, wherever Pumpadisa is, probably Iraq. Right? And come to Pumpadisa, and they're taking Havikansi Arasa Dinchi. They're taking people's properties. The the Muslims held, this is not the Muslims, but the Muslims held that those original when they took over after the Zoroasters, and they held that the Jewish people were allowed to stay alive, but they weren't allowed to own land. Yeah.
They still have that ideology.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to own land, and that's why when the Gemara history of where they had a Yarchikala, everyone would come for a month of the year, or 2 months for the year, and they would go and study. That's because they had land, and after they planted, they just had to wait. They were able to go and learn. And it was after that where they weren't allowed to own land. Then they had to do other businesses. They had to become merchants and other things. And then the whole system switched in the yeshiva. You know, there's historical parts to why did the Gemara end? What happened with Ravashi? Why what ended there? It was like there's other factors of government things and okay.
You have Ishmaelim or do you have Arabim?
I have Arve, but the Rashbam says Yishmaelim. The Rashbam translates them. How does it translate by you? Arabs. Arabs. What does an Arab mean? They come from Arabia. They come from that area. Okay.
They live there. That's it, the land is theirs.
Oh.
Everybody has to move out, they take over. It's happening everywhere.
So they were not only were they taking the property, but they were even taking the deeds, the contracts, so that the person can't claim it back. They were forcing them to give everything, like hijackers. So landowners came to Abaya, people that still had their property. Master, you should look at our documents and write a second document. Because when they come and they take one document, we'll still have one. So we'll have a copy, a certified copy of the document. They give you this when they get a birth certificate. They ask if you want a second copy, a third copy. You can get a second copy. They want a second copy of the deed. So they're going to court. They're going to get another copy. Well, Amar Lahu, Abaya says, "My Avad Lahu, what could I do for you?" Amar of Safar wrote, "In case he's not allowed to write two documents for one field. Tarif v'hadar tarif, v'avikatar delay." So tarif v'hadar katarif is what's going to happen is, let's say the seller had a creditor that's going to come in and take away. He's going to come to collect his money from the seller. Ruvain, let's say, owes money to Levi, let's say, and he sold the property to Shimon. So Levi comes to Ruvain, says, "Hey, pay me back." Ruvain says, "I don't have money." So he said, "Well, you used to have a property." So he goes to Shimon to get the property. So Levi now goes to Shimon, he takes away the property. And now he says, "Look, in order for you, Shimon, to get your money, you're going to need to tell. You're going to need to tell Ruvain that I took the property." Shimon wants his money back. He bought a property, now he doesn't have it because Ruvain took it away. So Ruvain gives oh, no. Okay, so now Shimon, who just lost his property, he goes to Ruvain to get his money. Now remember, Ruvain didn't have money, so he goes to another purchaser, to Yehuda, to get and he doesn't have money, but he has a property that was taken away. So he goes to Yehuda and he takes away the property that Yehuda had purchased from Ruvain, and because he purchased it later, right? His property was purchased first, so he has the rights to take that because there's a lien on that property. His property was sold with a guarantee. So he goes to Yehuda and he takes it away. Now, in order for Yehuda to get his money, Shimon gives to Yehuda one of the documents that says that he had purchased the property and now it's gone. That was taken away by Levi. Okay, all good. But then Shimon goes to, who's after Yehuda? Yisachar. Yeah. He goes to Yisachar, and he also had purchased the property from Ruvain, and he gives him the second document of the same property, and he says, "Hey, look, I lost this property. I'm going to take yours. You give this you use this document to collect from Ruvain." So now he's collected two properties off the one, because he lost it because a creditor came in and took his one property, but he has two documents for that property. He can now collect two properties back from that have been sold. You follow? So the two documents are going to be a problem. You get what's going on? What happened is the purchaser of this property loses the property to a creditor of the seller. So he goes to other purchasers of property to take away their property to get his money that he lost. So when he has one document that says that he owns a property, so he has to give that to the other purchaser when he takes his property. He's taking his property, but he's giving the document of the bought property that he got. Property A that was taken away by a creditor, that document now goes to the next purchaser for him to try to collect the money because he just lost his property. Yeah. The second, the purchaser.
There's a car purchase. Go to the guy that hate you.
Yeah.
Him.
Yeah, let's show it like this on my fingers. Okay, here's the seller. We call them moving. Here's the seller. Here is the creditor. Purchaser 1, purchaser 2, and purchaser 1, purchaser 2. All right. No, purchaser 1, 2, and 3. That's how it is. There's the seller, creditor, purchaser 1, 2, and 3. So purchaser 1 is lost his document, or they're afraid they're going to lose their document, so they're going to write them a second document. Okay, so now he has 2 documents.
It's like my grandmother today.
There's cookies, yeah. Different types, chocolate chip, black and white. It's the yard site for Dr. Stein's grandmother. Grandmother. And there's a picture that comes along with it.
Life back then, before the Nazis.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Esther Hannah, Basra Daf.
That's all in the coin.
Okay. So what's going to happen is he has 2 documents. So the creditor comes to Ruvain to collect his money. He doesn't have the money, so he goes and takes away the first property. So this guy that has that just lost his property, but he has 2 documents for that property, goes to the next purchaser and he says, "I lost my property. I'm taking your property, and here's one document that you can use to collect from back. Go back to Ruvain to take money, to get money, because you're losing your property that you paid for." So he takes that. Now he happens to have another document, and he goes to this fellow. He says, "I lost my property. I'm taking your property, and you can use this document to go back to Ruvain to collect." So he ends up, he lost his one property to the creditor, and now he has 2 properties because he had 2 documents.
Why isn't the first purchaser going back to the original seller?
The guy that he did, but he doesn't have money.
So why is the second and third one going back to the original seller?
They will. They have a document that says that they lost their property based on someone else's property that got lost. Each of them have this. Now the guy's going to get caught because those documents are the same. The Gemara is going to ask that later. That the guy's going to get caught, but the Gemara is going to answer. But in the interim, he's still going to live off this until all the proceedings and all of that. It's like the false advertising. They get caught after when they add it, but they make so much money that it's worth it for them. Right?
So there's no based-in requirement that you write on the second document, this is a duplicate, there's another one?
Oh, that's the Gemara is going to ask also. Yeah. Meanwhile, this is where we're holding. So, Abaye is saying, I can't write you a second document because you can end up tarif v'hadar tarif. You can confiscate a property and then confiscate a second property. And Habikatar, okay, Habikatar delay. They were bothering him a lot. That we really need to help us. Amalei Lasafre. So he says to his scribe, Zilk seiv lehu hu ala mechek be'idav ala niyar. Puzzle. Write a document, an invalid document, just to get them out of here. Write a document on an erasure, and let the witnesses sign on the clean part, and no erasure. Remember, that was a document that wasn't kosher, right? It says give them a document that they won't be able to use. Just counterfeit. What? Amalei Rabacha Bar Minumi La Abaya. Rabacha Bar Minumi says to Abaya, what's that going to help? The Dilma Rishumi Nicker, he's assuming that they're going to write a real document, erase it, and then write it again. The second one is going to be invalid. The first one is erased. So he's asking, but let's say Dilma Rishumi Nicker, maybe he can erase the second document on top, and we'll be able to see that the original document still has a residue there. Betanian was starting to write in Nimchak and attached this and Rishumi Nicker Kasha. They'll be able to use the first document underneath. Yeah. Where they say, how did they counterfeit the dollar bills years ago? They would take a real dollar bill and a $1 bill, and they would like bleach it or something, and then they would print on it 20. And that way the paper, because they could tell from the paper.
They used the
dollars
for the paper.
It's the same. So anyway, so what happened here, what's happening here is that maybe you're going to be able to use the bottom one. The top one is not going to be good because you wrote on an erasure, but maybe you'll be able to use the bottom one. And the bottom one has it, then they'll end up with two documents. So did you end up reading that book, Counterfeit Life? Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah. It's one of the best books, yeah. It was a very good book, a Holocaust book, Counterfeit Lives. And it was like a yeshiva, a Radomsker Chassid. Yeah. It's a good book.
By the way, the movie they made with that name or similar name in Australia was nowhere near. The book is a film book,
right?
About
don't watch the movie. That has nothing to do with the book. It's a book, CIS Publishing, not the Lakewood Publishing.
You could wait for your store to get back to me and then borrow it.
It was in there. He said that someone came into the camp. They wanted to learn together. They didn't have any svarim, but this guy knew the Homosech and the Darim by heart. Remember that? Yeah. Okay, so Amalei, he said, Abaya is responding. The concern here is that maybe they're going to, he's going to use the bottom document. Amalei mi kamina shtarama yeah, aleph beis balma kamina. I wasn't referring to writing a proper document and then erasing it and then writing another document. I was referring to making an aleph beis chart and erase it. What do they call those? ABCDiums, right? They found like the old clay tablets, like ABCDium. Just write what the aleph beis and then erase it, and then not a real document that you're going to be able to use. Okay. Rabbanon. Start in a brisa. Reish above Yamar, if someone came and said, I lost my promissory note. This could be a trick. Could be a trick. We can end up with two promissory notes now. And then that's what could be a problem. Even though witnesses come and say, yeah, it's true. We wrote the document. We gave it to him. We signed on it. We don't write him another document. Maybe he didn't really lose the document. Maybe he's holding the first document. Says he lost it. He gets another one. Right? The kids do this when we give out snacks. They say, mine fell. I lost it. Someone took mine. I need another one. Okay.
When you get another driver's license because you lost it, the new one says copy.
Oh, really?
So we avoid this problem.
Oh, very good. The Gemara is going to discuss that.
That's what I'm saying. But someone can't come with each because one of them will say, obviously, it's a copy.
But if you can use the second one,
the first one you could always use, and it always says copy. Because the time it says issue is the first time they ever gave you a license. Every other time that you renew, everything is going to be a copy.
Really?
And what I was thinking is like the car title. You could get as many as those as you pay for.
Right.
but I'm not sure.
What you're gonna do with it.
You
Yeah,
can sell the car to two people.
because they'll look at the date. Or you can sell it to two people.
That doesn't say copy, it just says no, this isn't. If it had the original date. It's one
Oh, okay. So, in case in you can't write the document. When do we say this? If it's a promissory note, but if it's a property sale, then kaisvin you could write a second document. But this goes different than what Abaya was concerned about before. Abaya was concerned about before that you may end up using it. Well, but here we're saying but the only thing is you write on it that you can't use this to collect. There's no guarantee on this in this document. You can't write that. You can't write any document. Again. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel would say, if someone gives a gift to his friend and he gives him back the document, so then the gift has been returned. So the document and the gift go hand in hand. We'll have to figure out what that means. The Gemara will explain that later. Chachamim say no. It's still considered a gift, even though the document has been returned. Amar Mar. Master said before, referring to the Brisa, that said that you can write a document of sale, but you can't say that there's a guarantee in it. You can give him a second document, but the second document doesn't have a guarantee that he can use to collect from other people. Notice if this document, if this property is taken away, only one of the documents, the original document, he can use to collect the money or a second property to replace it. You can't use it to repossess property. That's basically in the new document. My time, what's the reason? Rav Safra says, because of the problem that we explained before, that you may end up collecting from two new purchasers, right? Yehuda and Yisachar, saying that you lost your property and you're coming to repossess their properties. And then you're going to have two documents. Maybe a creditor is going to take away the property from Shimon, or here we use the name Levi. One second. The creditor is going to take away the property. And this person's going to go, this first purchaser, is going to take out one document, and he's going to take it away from another purchaser. Then he tells to the Baal Chayv, to the creditor, he says, Shuf, wait a little bit. Shufli, wait. The Akamli, that I'll be here for 3 years. And now you'll take away this property. Then he'll take out the other document. And then he'll confiscate a second property. Keeping the Quran. Okay. Why did we make this one so much more complicated than the first one? Why does he have to wait? Before we were just going to go to the second person. Here he's going to wait. He's going to sit in this property. The Baal Chayv is going to confiscate it. Now the Baal Chayv needs to confiscate his new property.
He's saying to the other guy.
And then he's going to take it away because he has another document. Going to take away. We complicated it way much more than before. Before he was just going to go to two people on the spot and say, okay, I lost my property, give me yours, and here's the document. I lost my property, give me yours, and here's the document. Over here, he's making it way
So what's he
complicated.
saying? Oh, it's document, it'll be mine, but you could stay here for free.
No. Oh, 1 second. Now, what's the new case? New case is that a creditor is coming to him and taking away his property.
Really?
Yeah, really. So he goes to someone else.
Who is he?
The person who just lost his property, purchaser number one, that just lost his property, that has two documents. He goes to the first one, he goes to someone else and he says, I've lost my property, and this is a document of it. I lost my property because it was a creditor. I'm going to take your property, and you try to get the money from the original owner. Here's the deed from my property. This proves that I lost my property. Now he tells the guy that took away his original property, the creditor, he says, wait 3 years while I live in this property. Then you'll come again with your document of the debt. And you'll collect.
I thought he took that.
No. Well, that's the problem. Why does the guy still have the document of the debt is a problem? The Gemara's going to ask that. But we're saying that he's going to stay here again. The guy's going to come out with his document of debt, confiscate the new property, and then he's going to use the second document to collect from someone else. So he has this this arrangement with the creditor that they're going to do this and they're going to make money off it by taking away more properties, even though he only borrowed one. Yeah. The Gemara asks, "Ukiman the Karana l'shtara de malva, b'may hader tarifle." How's he coming to collect the second time? How do they collect the second time? When you collect the first time, you have to take away the promissory note. When you pay up a debt, that's the first thing that goes. Is give me the promissory note, I'll give you the money, or I'll give you the property. Yeah, but now we're saying that he's going to take out the promissory note again and collect again. But the promissory note should disappear when it collects the first time. Maybe they didn't tear it up. Saying he didn't tear it up. It says Vaha Amar Rav Nachman, but Rav Nachman says, Kol tirfad like siv bekarana l'shtar de malva, lav tirfu. Any document of repossessing, of confiscating property that doesn't say in it that we've already torn up the promissory note is not considered a good document. Now, what happens over here is that there's, I'll tell you, the Rashbam spells this out pretty clearly. Listen to this Rashbam. It's in the V'hamar of Nachman. See Rashbam V'hamar of Nachman. Kachu Aseder. The Rashbam says, I usually don't do the Rashbam inside, but it says, Malva Bala Bezdin. A creditor comes to court. B'tzayak ala he's complaining about the debtor. That he's not paying his debt. They summon him to court. I'm in the Hebrew side, so it's not going to be over there. And it says they tell him like this: Kidam Rinan, the Eloi Asi Mishamtinan lay. And if he doesn't come, they'll put him in Cherem. That's his summons. But Kaisvin Shtar Tirfala Malva. Then they write a document of collection for the Malva that the creditor can now use to collect from his property. He should go and search for the property. Anywhere we'll find his property, or property that was purchased from him, he'll go to even if it's not in the city, he can go to he'll show his shtar tirfa, this collection document, to the court. And then he'll get the property. And they'll write for him a shtar adrachta. So there's two documents so far. Shtar tirfa, the ability to collect, to confiscate. Shtar adrachta is the ability to repossess. He'll now get a new document that's called the shtar adrachta, that he can now repossess this property, a specific property. Look as it says in Agayzel Basra. But the original document that said that he was able to confiscate, that document they have to tear up. Maybe he's going to go somewhere else and use that document again to try to get to another property. Okay, so now what they need to do now is, now that he has a shtar adrachta that he can enter into to repossess this property, the yeshuma and the chasim kedin shuma, right? Yeshuma and the chasim kedin shuma spestin to the parish babakama. Now he gets a third document. The third document is called an evaluation document. How much this property is worth and how much of it he's able to take. So the adrachta allows him to enter into it and to repossess it, but it doesn't say its value and how much of it he's getting. Then he gets the shtar shuma. When he gets the shtar shuma, and mishum the shuma had la'olam k'shiyalei mais leivik the lebezin shtar shuma yikra adrachta. Once he gets the shtar shuma, then they tear up the adrachta. He has to hold on to the shtar shuma. The shtar shuma has a one flaw in it, and that is that if the fellow original person comes up with the money, he can come back and take away the property. Because shuma hadar loylam, you can come back and take. If your property was repossessed because you didn't have the money, you could pay it up and get the property back. Like a foreclosure, yeah.
There's only 2 documents here, right? Not 3.
But we're referring to now when Rav Nachman steps in here, it says kol tirfad like sibe kronostar malva. If it doesn't say in the document that we've already torn up the promissory note, lav tirfa, then that's not a confiscating document. Now it goes on. The chol adrachta like sibe krana letirfa. Any adrachta which allows him to repossess, that doesn't say that we've torn up the confiscating the document. Lav adrachtahu. That's not considered an adrachta, a kosher adrachta. It has to say that. V'chol shuma, the like sibikrana adrachta, lav shuma. Any evaluation document that doesn't say that we tore up the adrachta. Yeah, we just introduced the 3 new documents here. Then that's not a good document unless it says we tore up the one before this. So how is he coming to collect the second time? The Gemara says leitzricha the kasem mikayach. So that story was all wrong. We're not concerned about Reb Safra. That's not the story. We're concerned about a totally different story. The different story is that the person's coming in and saying that the reason why you're in this property is because the person that sold it to you stole it from my father. Oh. Now I'm coming in with the original document and I'm going to collect it from you. Now, what's the problem?
You can't come in with the original document. You already have the what they call here the certificate of appraisal, because that is really after the fact, after everything's been cleared. The other one is just a warrant to come in.
Right.
So you can't come even if you have another warrant because you have a document that says everything's farting. You
right.
have this come up.
Right.
It's all over. Right.
Right.
So,
I don't see what that last.
What this is going to.
Yeah, I don't see what's proven. Everybody has a father who once owned property. That doesn't mean it wasn't sold.
So he's going to bring proof that this field belonged to his father, and that the person that sold it to him had stolen it, and he's going to confiscate it, and it's going to go into the hand. It's going to go into the hands of this person that's possessed. Then he's going to write a document to the seller. Not to the seller, to the purchaser, not from him, the purchaser that purchased it off the thief. Going to write a document that it's been confiscated and that he has permission to go confiscate other property from the same seller. So he may end up making an arrangement with the nigzal. What do you say? The nigzal, the person that the property was stolen from. He may and say like this, that wait for me 3 years. Then step in again. We'll bring proof that the property was stolen from you. And you'll confiscate again.
Well, I don't get it. 3 years is the amount of time to wait for someone to have a chazaka on land.
Yeah. Right.
But the chazaka doesn't work if the person who claims to be an owner was involved.
So that's why the chazaka is not going to work. He's going to come in and confiscate. Right. What is the original? He's now in a new property. He's not in the same property. Why is the original document going to help? Let me see. The Gemara now says, Amalei Ravachim Difti LeRavina. Ravachim Difti says to Ravina, V'lama Leila Meimar Leila Balchayv Shufli Bayar Avekam Ba. Why does he have to tell him? Wait for me, and then I'll get established. And wait for me in this land. He doesn't have to say that. Typically, it should just be the Kiman Denakat Trei Shtari, Tarif Ad Tarif. Let him just go confiscate it twice. Let this person he has 2 documents, let him go collect twice. There's 2 documents right away, like we said originally. The Gemara says, no, Imkain, Nefishia Baledinim, then they're going to realize it immediately that this is a fake. Because when you go to the first person, they end up in court. Then 2 days later, they end up in court. The same field with 2 documents. Everyone's going to realize that. So we have to wait 3 years to do this. Okay, that's a new discussion. Let's leave the Gemara over here. Okay. Okay, have a good day.
Thank you.